Lower tax means higher growth is the Conservative mantra, and going into today's budget, there was a sense that the Chancellor maybe had limited options available to him in order to cut taxes, given that the UK is technically in recession and our public services do need more, not less funding. It's fair to say that all budgets are political decisions, and it's not lost on anyone that today's budget really was a political one ahead of the general election. But that said, none of the announcements today were unexpected. All budgets are political decisions, and it's not lost on anyone that this is probably the last budget before the next general election. That said, in the build-up to today, a lot of the announcements were released ahead of time, which meant that there weren't really that many surprises in what the Chancellor said. The Chancellor spoke of permanent tax cuts. His flagship announcement was to take 2p from national insurance, and that was a measure following that he had done in the previous autumn statement when he also took 2p off. So the two together are predicted to give £450 per annum and £900 across the two savings to the average worker. The other high-profile announcements were in relation to the non-dom regime and the abolition of tax reliefs for second homes. As I said, all of these were things that were trailed ahead of today. It's difficult not to view today's announcements, though, without stepping back and considering the context of recent years. Today's tax cuts could be said to be just a smaller tax rise when viewed over a longer period, particularly given the tax burden remains so high. Additionally, fiscal drag has been allowed to continue, and if the thresholds remain unadjusted in the coming years, then there are expected to be maybe 3 million more people subject to a higher rate 40% tax by 2029, as well as the additional complexity that it brings for companies. There's a number of tax regimes aimed at large organisations, and if the thresholds don't change, more companies fall within it, and obviously that adds to the amount of administration that they need to deal with. Today's tax cuts will be welcomed. In reality, though, perhaps they should just be viewed as a smaller tax rise over recent periods.